I remember sitting that night at dinner, and I was really young. One of the things you should know too is I was 15, and most of the girls I was competing with on the national team were 20, 21, wow. 19, 20, 21, 22. So I was really, I mean, you think about the age gap there, right? Huge. And they were literally sitting at dinner laughing and talking about how anyone would be so stupid to believe in God. And I don't remember how the conversation came up, but I remember just sitting there silent, like, wait a second. Like, because all I wanted to do was fit in with these girls. I mean, that was what I wanted. Yeah. And my mom told me this. I do not remember this, but she told me I came home from that camp, I put my Bible away, and I never picked it up again.
Wow.
And it makes me like tear up because I just go like, oh, you know, you want to grab me and shake
Don't
me,
tear
right?
Up. You're gonna make me tear up.
Sorry. And so what was super interesting is how I get to look back now and how God he never gave up, right? He doesn't give up on us. And he just literally kept putting people in my path that eventually brought me back to him. So I'm 15 and this happens, right? So I just kind of shut down because I want to fit in. I just want to do what they're doing. And I can do this on my own. And I mean, let's be honest, the culture of the world, the culture of sports pushes towards, you got this. You're good enough.
That's right.
You can hold it on your own, right? Whereas we're actually designed by God to need him, to lean into him. And so it's the exact opposite of what we're trying, like the weight that you try to carry when you try to do it by yourself, right? And so I kept going through my career, and that's where I kind of was struggling. And I got to a point, I think I was like 20, maybe 19, 20, and I'd done well, don't get me wrong, right? I'm in the top 100 in the world, but I wasn't able to like succeed beyond that. And I was in New Zealand for a camp, and I saw this necklace, and it was this orange. It had these really cool orange stones, and it was a cross necklace. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I want to buy that. Like, what if people ask me about my faith? Like, I don't want to talk about that. But I thought, I just love it. I got to get it. So I bought it, and I'm wearing it. I get home from the camp, and I had a meeting with BMW to see if they wanted to sponsor me. So I was in Minneapolis. I had the necklace on. So I go to this meeting. We end up talking all about skiing, obviously, and about the sponsorship. Then at the end of the meeting, the gentleman says, well, can I ask you a personal question? And I said, well, sure, maybe, you know? And he said, well, your necklace, like, is it faith or is it fashion? And I was like, wait, this is what I didn't want to happen, right? So I started telling him, I was like, well, you know, I almost didn't buy this necklace. So I told him the story, and I said, but I believe in God. I just like opened up to this guy, right? I believe in God, but I don't know. I beyond that, I just don't really know. And he said, well, my wife and I would love you to come to church with us if you want, you know, and totally put the invite out there. I, of course, was terrified and started like kind of running the other way, but at the same time, it planted a seed. And then I remember praying and saying, God, you know, if you're real, like, then show me. I remember literally saying, like, sure, I know you're real, but like, I need something more.
Yeah.
And I was, in that sense, I guess I feel like I was a little arrogant, but I 2 weeks later got a phone call from my uncle inviting me to come to church. I was like, okay. And then about a month passed, and I, of course, was trying to I just kept moving on. My life just keeps going. And as I look back, I'm like, oh my goodness, God just kept putting like a speed bump here, a speed bump here. He kept trying to slow me down. Like, look, you asked, and I am providing. I'm doing exactly what you asked of me.
How old
right?
were you at this time?
I think I was like 19.
Okay.
And so meanwhile, I have not taken the necklace off. Like, so I never, you knew, like I knew when I look back, I'm like, he had me because I didn't take it off. Right.
Yeah.
And so I go into this dinner party with one of my sponsors. I believe it was like a Swix, the ski pole sponsor. And we're having this dinner, and mind you, like, faith is not a topic that comes up in the ski racing world. And I don't think it comes up in a lot of sporting worlds, not easily. It's not when I was there. And after the dinner, we were standing up by the bar, and one of the guys that works for the company came up to me, and he says, hey, can I ask you a question? And I said, yeah, you know. He said, so your necklace, like, I mean, do you wear it just because it looks good, or is it like really your faith? And it was like I got smacked across the face, right? I was like, are you serious? So then, of course, I told him the whole story about the buying it, and then the BMW meeting, and my uncle inviting me to church. And he said, do you mind if I send you a package?
Wow.
And I was like, no, sure, go right ahead. So a week later, on my doorstep, I get a package with the book that Rick Warren wrote, A Purpose-Driven Life.
Mm-hmm.
So I get this book, and inside of it, he has handwritten his testimony. And that was it. Like, that was the moment where I was just like, okay, God, I got it. I get it. I get it. Like, so I did that. I read for the 30 days. And from that point on, like, my journey that was the starting point for me coming back to Christ and now finding my own way, and doing things, the way God built me, not trying to do it like somebody else. So, I don't know, I guess a side note there, a little bit of a tangent, but
that is why you're here.
Yeah, but I love sharing that story because I think it's so neat it's so much easier, right, when we look back to see it, but to look back and see how God literally, I asked him and he straight up just kept putting people in my life, like, okay, here you go. I'll keep putting them there till you realize, like, I created you and I have great plans for you, and I want to be there for you,